been said already. I think that the main challenges that people are facing here come from both cultural and legal. And you need to understand that, and I think as advisors answering this question, we need to understand that. Having been here, like some other members of the panel, for more than 2 decades, 10 years ago, certainly 20 years ago, it was cultural understanding that you needed. You were bringing solutions, often it was offshore solutions, because that's all that was really available. But you needed to understand the client, you needed to understand the cultures, and the environment as much, but in fact maybe more so, to be successful than the technical aspect of things. Today that balance is much more technical. There's a lot, as we heard earlier today, there's a lot more empowerment for the client. They're confused with information, but you need to understand them culturally, their families. They need to share that information with you. They need to trust you. And that's another major challenge as advisors, is understanding and getting the client to actually give you the information you need. As I said before, that not unusual that you'll find a client that has multiple offshore structures advised at different times of their life for different purposes and different family circumstances. And often when we look at these now from a health check, fit for purpose point of view, none of them, not one, is often actually serving the purpose it set out to do originally. So, hopefully that answers the question. So I think there's a lot more education, a lot more understanding that needs to be done from the advisor's perspective.
A lot of what you do is around creating structures, whether it's people looking to do things here, or maybe families looking to do things elsewhere. So what's your starting point when you're trying to understand the reality of their situation?
I think there are a number of factors involved. Looking at the source of wealth, looking at the individuals involved, looking at what their commercial objectives are for the investments, looking at where the assets are based, obviously, because that has a major impact in terms of law, regulation, tax, looking at which jurisdictions they're comfortable with, maybe they're already familiar with. Sometimes if something isn't broke, you don't need to fix it, and if a family has already gone through the process of assessing, taking advice on a particular structure and it works, then there's no reason to reinvent the wheel. But I would say that that's the main issue. Now, one of the other things that we've seen is some of our clients started out as essentially single-family offices, but have morphed into essentially what are asset managers, and they have been approached by different branches of the same family or other families that they know, because those families have heard about the success of their endeavours. That's where it starts to become a bit more complicated, because then you're looking at third parties and essentially what could be considered to be financial services promotion, so asset management on behalf of other families. And that would bring in another dimension. So whether you call it a multi-family office or a regulated asset management firm, and some of our clients who are families have essentially set up their own regulated asset managers, in whether that's in the DIFC or other jurisdictions. They then need to be very, very careful, as David was just saying. The treatment of going to talk about that structure in the DIFC and how that would be treated from a regulatory perspective is very different to onshore UAE, because the financial services regimes are different. So there are lots of factors at play, and it really depends on how complex the family arrangement is and how complicated the assets are and where they're based.
Jan, anything you'd like to add?
That's a very valid point. It's a very valid point about constantly monitoring structures and ensuring that you do not fall foul from any regulation. I mean, you touched on anti-money laundering issues that are very relevant today. families are often not used to that. If you tell them, hey, by the way, you'll need to have some sort of compliance and regulatory function within your